Here's your report.
Thanks, Jane. I wish I could hire a whole team of yous.
Try posting a job on LinkedIn. It's the world's largest professional network. Unlike resumes, LinkedIn gives a real-time view into a candidate's skills, experiences, and more.
Let's do it. You're irreplaceable, Jane, but another you would be great.
Find your perfect match with LinkedIn. Post your free job at linkedin.com/achieve. That's linkedin.com/achieve. Terms and conditions apply.
Don't you love it when things are both easier and more affordable? Like when the rain washes your car for you. Or like when you save up to 10% by bundling your renters and auto insurance with USAA. Bundle with USAA and start saving. Get a quote today.
I wanted something light-hearted to do for this, and I saw the kind of lead image of it, and it was sort of a chubby, portly Jack Black with a silly tash. And I thought, you know what,
silly smile.
This might be quite funny. But then I looked into the story. I found it to be quite a fascinating story.
Well, it's a true story as well,
yeah, exactly,
which is really bizarre. Welcome to episode 52.
Hey everybody, and welcome to this episode of Flixwatcher podcast. We are joined by Will.
Hello.
And Chris.
Hello.
And as always, Helen.
Hello.
And we're going to be talking about the Jack Black, Richard Linklater film, Bernie.
Come find us on Twitter at FlixWatcherPod. Visit the website flixwatcher.tv for full listings, and don't forget to subscribe to us on iTunes and leave us an awesome review.
So guys, just as a big reminder, all films on the podcast were available on Netflix at the time of recording. There will be bad language. There will be spoilers. I hope you enjoy it. See you later.
Hello and welcome to Flixwatcher podcast. Today our guests are Chris and Will. If you would like to say hello and tell us a little about what you do.
Hi, this is Chris. I am probably best described as a PR professional, freelance drummer with 4 separate bands, no fewer than 4 separate bands, and one-time unsuccessful open mic stand-up comedian.
When you say freelance drummer, because I have a few friends who did music at least in the past. Were you sessions, or did you just turn up and hit the skins?
Guns for hire.
A gun for hire in every sense.
Anywhere that'll take you, basically.
Yeah, please. Just bins out the back garden, anything. Sessions, live stuff, anything really.
Yeah. So I've heard the people I know who've done session stuff, they always seem to have worked with quite interesting people.
Yeah, not the case with me, but jolly good for them. If you could introduce me to them, that'd be great. Worked with very talented people, successful, not necessarily, but continuing to work with those talented and nice people, and it's a jolly good laugh, which is the most important thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
You didn't just, sorry, we'll get on to me in half a sec, but you didn't mention the most impressive person that you've ever worked with.
Probably Will Rowe?
No, it's Paolo Di Canio.
Oh, Paolo Di Canio. Oh, sorry. Right, okay, yeah. Back on the PR professional side of things, I was once in the press office at Swindon Town during the lovely segue, mate, thanks.
That's all right.
During the infamous period of management of Paolo Di Canio at Swindon Town. Very passionate, very, very strange man, infamously self-confessed fascist. Do either of you follow football particularly?
No, Paolo Di Canio's name. I didn't know he was a manager at Swindon Town.
He was, yes.
Neither did he.
We all knew he was, mate. So I was there for about the first 3 months of his tenure, and Swindon brought him on about a year after he'd admitted in the Italian press that he was a supporter of fascism. And when I first met him, I'd organised his press conference, and he came in and he had a shirt on, sleeves rolled up to about where mine are now, just above the elbow. And he reached out to shake my hand, and his sleeves rolled up to reveal a tattoo of Benito Mussolini on his right bicep.
Whoa.
And I said, "Nice to meet you, Paolo." Anyway, there's loads of people who want to interview you now. Talk about football, mate. Don't talk about the fascism, because that's a bit weird. So I did about 4 months with him. So, drumming and managing fascists in the press. Here you go.
And yourself?
So what do? I work at Lord's Cricket Ground. I have a podcast with them. It's in the process of being reinvented at the moment.
Why has it been reinvented?
Because I stopped doing it. No, it's in a hiatus
because there's no
period.
cricket.
Yeah.
But today we are actually here not to talk about sport, but to talk about Bernie. So it's your choice, Chris. So if you'd like to give us a brief or in-depth synopsis, depends how you're feeling, and also tell us why you picked this film.
Yeah, so brief synopsis. Here we go. Set your stopwatch. So Jack Black plays a chap called Bernie Tiede. We agreed on that pronunciation before recording. Who's a funeral director in a small town called Carthage in Texas. He is kind of notoriously very friendly and very warm and almost sort of overbearingly polite to people, and is much loved around the community. Softly spoken, quite camp, and he is infamous for befriending bereaved elderly women and being nice to them and kind of caring for them. And one of these said bereaved women who he befriends is a lady called Marjorie Nugent, who is very rich and has a lot of money after her husband dies. And she is kind of not very well liked among the community, very cold, very callous, very unpleasant person. And Bernie befriends her and kind of turns her around, or so you think to start with, from this kind of horrible, cold, unpleasant person into someone who's a bit more warm and a bit more kind of friendly. But then he struggles to kind of deal with the other side of her personality, which is the fact that she is very controlling of him, and she starts to dominate him and be very unpleasant to him and make him feel trapped in the home that he comes to visit. She disinherits her estranged son from her multi-million pound inheritance, and gives Bernie power of attorney. And just as she is kind of getting overbearingly dominant, he sees red and he has a moment of madness when she's walking out to the car in the garage.
Well, maybe hold back in a moment of madness just for the moment.
Yeah, okay. And then something mysterious happens, and then he is. There's plenty of stuff that kind of happens after that, which we'll
get to
a bit later, I'm sure.
What were your thoughts, Will?
Well, full disclosure, I wasn't the biggest fan of this film, Chris. So thanks for making me watch it.
That's absolutely fine.
It's an absolute pleasure.
I had no involvement in its production at all. So
No, you did make it. No, but it's a great synopsis.
Yeah,
Lovely, yeah,
good.
Yeah, I thought you handled that quite well.
It was quite brief, wasn't it?
Very brief, mate.
Good.
Almost fell asleep.
Why did you choose it, other than maybe to wind Will up?
That's why I choose to do most things. I chose it because
Had you seen it before?
No.
Okay.
I am quite a big fan of Jack Black.
See, that's controversial.
Yeah, I know it is.
We'll get to that controversy later.
Yeah, indeed. I think the guy's got funny bones. Yeah. I like him. And I like his singing voice. But but I thought I wanted something lighthearted to do for this. And I saw the kind of lead image of it, and it was sort of a chubby, portly Jack Black with a silly tash. And I thought, what?
Silly smile.
This might be quite funny. But then I looked into the story, and I found it to be quite a fascinating story.
Well, it's a true story as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is really bizarre.
And I thought I was intrigued to see how it was going to be done with Jack Black as the lead and in the style of what was a black comedy. So I saw in the synopsis, and I thought I was intrigued to see how they would do it.
So you knew it was a true story going into it?
Yeah, because I Googled it. I was like, I've never heard of this film. What is it? And then you kind of...
Yeah, I knew it was a true story because Chris WhatsApped me before I watched it and said, "Oh, it's a true story. I can't believe it." I was like, all right, cool. So I knew it was a true story. I think my issue with it, without just sitting there going, "Oh, yeah, it's not very good," is where it falls down for me in its most basic premise, if that's the right word, is what you said. It's a comedy, or a black comedy, a dark comedy. But I didn't find it funny, and I didn't laugh throughout the whole film. Yeah. And maybe that's just me, but I didn't find it very funny.
You have infamously got a woeful sense of humour. No, I'm joking. No, I do know what you mean. There are parts of it where I was thinking, I don't really know what they were trying to do with it. So I take your point on that.
once I found out it was a real film, which is I got to the end and they do this is what Bernie Tiede really looks like talking to Jack Black. It's like, oh shit, this is actually true.
Yeah.
And how can you play this story for laughs? And I did think that, I mean, Jack Black, like I say, he's got funny bones and is intrinsically funny. But it's a weird contrast with the story and the kind of humour. And also Richard Linklater is not typically...
He's not known for his black comedy. And also the way it's filmed is like a fake documentary sort of as well.
Yeah.
So it is weird in lots of ways.
That was what intrigued me about it when I saw that it was a true story, and I saw that it was going to be a black comedy with these kind of talking heads in it as well. I thought I have to see what this is like.
Yeah.
So that was what kind of appealed to me about it. But I do know what you mean about it being a strange way to tackle quite a sort of harrowing story, really.
Yeah, that aspect of it I quite liked. Sorry,
walking contradiction.
The documentary part. Of
sorry,
it.
right,
Yeah, I want to add. I don't want to just come on and be like, oh yeah, it's rubbish. I've got to add value to why it's rubbish.
Of course.
But that crass expression. But no, what I mean is, I found that was quite interesting, and I quite like that style. Don't know why, I just did. It was quite cool.
Yeah, well,
do you know what I mean?
Apparently, some of the sorry, go on.
No, you go. After you.
Apparently, some of the talking heads. People doing the talking heads are the real people.
Ones, yeah.
Okay.
So I was trying. I didn't know that, did you?
No.
So,
you did your research.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, because I thought some of them didn't do that good a job of it.
Yeah, they were probably the real ones.
Yeah.
And one of them, even more deep research, is Matthew McConaughey's mum.
Oh, okay.
Oh, really?
Factually there, Kay McConaughey.
Yeah, we
short for?
No idea.
All right.
Should point out that I actually made a little chart that charted the reconnaissance because I was quite interested to see where this fell. And this is at the beginning of the reconnaissance. So this was at the very sort of start of his revival.
Because he's very thin here.
He is. So this is what I call the beginning, which is around the time of the Lincoln lawyer Bernie and Killer Joe. So this is the start of the reconnaissance.
What was the end?
The end is Dallas Buyers Club, Wolf of Wall Street, and Interstellar and True Detective.
Oh no, sorry. I think what I mean is what came before the beginning.
So do you want?
That's a big question.
How long we got the room for?
There's a big bang.
There's the start. The star starts quite high, and funnily enough, it starts with Dazed and Confused, which obviously is Richard Linklater.
Yeah,
and then we have quite a nice sort of plateau over Time to Kill, Contact, Amistad, Ed TV. Then we have the bongo incident, which is when he was smoking marijuana, playing the bongos naked, and the police came around.
All right.
Was that a film?
No, sadly.
No,
that was real life. And then we go down into U571, The Wedding Planner. We go up a little bit for Frailty and then Reign of Fire. Depends how you want to take that. And then after that, we've got How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, Sahara, Failure to Launch, Fool's Gold, and Ghosts of Girlfriends Past. Oh. Yeah.
I mean, that's some incredible legwork you've done there.
But some
very
people,
impressive.
I'm guessing Will might class this as still part of the low point.
Well, it's he's quite good in it. I mean, he is playing the role that he does play quite well. I mean, it's almost like trying out for Dallas Buyers, but not as skinny or as crazy.
Yeah.
When did this film come out?
2011, I think, wasn't it?
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, so it's
pre-Dallas Buyers.
Yep, definitely. And the start...
Did my research.
Very good.
Yeah, because you can kind of tell by his size, because apart from... you haven't mentioned Magic Mike's.
So basically, this is the beginning is classed as, in my chart, the Lincoln lawyer Bernie, Killer Joe.
Yeah.
And then you've got the middle, which is the Paperboy, Mud, and Magic Mike. And then he's kind of like coming out of his Dallas Buyers, Wolf of Wall Street, Interstellar, and True Detective there, 2013, 2014.
Yeah. So, I mean, what about the other people in the cast? So I think Woody Harrelson.
Who?
My mate's played tennis with him.
Has he?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Fact.
That is a can of worms.
Anyway, back to Bernie. Sorry, yeah.
So I was thinking of Wooderson's his character in Dazed and Confused. That's where I was getting Woody from.
Yeah.
It's quite a big cast. I mean, we've got Shirley MacLaine as well, who plays What's her name?
Marjorie Nugent.
With her interesting chewing. So I thought that was quite funny.
Yeah. I couldn't decide whether I was convinced of her evil and her controlling nature by the way she did that. Do you know what I mean? I don't know whether I wasn't particularly intimidated by her or kind of, I didn't really buy that she was controlling this big roly-poly jolly chap. Do you know what I mean? I don't think she was particularly...
To the extent that he pulled out the gun. We'll say it now.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's a true story. So if you use Google, you'll find out that he kills her.
But we do say spoilers are allowed.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing I want to kind of ask you guys, because I didn't know it was a true story. When he shot her, I thought she wasn't dead because there was no kind of blood. There's no kind of...
Yeah.
I thought that was just part of the kind of gag that's... and I thought that might have been just, you know, how films often have them playing out what they'd want to happen in their heads.
Right.
Like in High Fidelity.
Like in High Fidelity, exactly.
Which has also got Jack Black in it.
Yes.
So you were thinking he might have
done that kind of stuff.
Because just before he does it, he flashes back to when she's chewing those refried beans over and over and over and over. So you wonder whether the next scene of him shooting her is another hallucination. Yeah.
So it's weird. Just the tonality just doesn't really work. And I do like what they're trying to do. I think what the main thing is the way Jack Black speaks in this. I can't take it seriously.
Yeah.
And it's almost like with who's Noah Baumbach's friend, director Wes Anderson. And I can't remember the name of the film. Rushmore. So it's like Jack Black is doing all these things like extracurricular in the same way the main kind of character in Rushmore is doing those kind of stuff.
Jason Schwartzman. So it all just seems like some weird kind of thing. I just can't believe this is really happening and playing out, and this is a real and true story, and we're supposed to laugh at it, but it's also serious. It's like, what is it?
He's almost like the way he speaks is almost cartoon camp at times, which I did quite enjoy the film, but I wasn't convinced of, like I say, I wasn't convinced of the way he did that character, and it's jarred slightly the way they were telling the story through this sort of almost cartoon character, really.
I think it falls down on the whole comedy thing. I think it could have been quite a good film if they were like, this is not a comedy, this is a true story, and let's play it as almost like a thriller horror type thing, because obviously as a filmmaker or whatever, you can take the reality of something, which loads of films are based on true stories, which aren't really true stories, etc., etc. But you could have taken the film and said, right, this has happened. This is a bloke that's killed this woman, put her in a freezer, another spoiler there, and then lived a lie for a bit, which in America is probably quite common. But do you know what I mean?
They do have big freezers in America.
Yeah, they do. They're massive freezers.
Famous for their freezers.
And their fridges. The old fridge freezer. It's that. I think that's an American. It probably is an American thing.
It's the American dream, isn't it?
It is that. It's just a big
fridge and a big freezer.
But I think my point is that, like, I mean, there was that thing recently of those that couple somewhere in the States had like 14 kids, their own kids, who'd like been living in their house for 18 years, and like one escaped. Like the 17-year-old daughter got out, and so I guess my point is, as a true story. When it comes to the end, it's like, oh, and this is a true story. I'm like, yeah, it's America. Like, it's probably not that bonkers for the States. It's probably like all things considered, not normal, but do you know what I mean? And so what I think is, rather than doing it as a comedy, get rid of Jack Black and then
get him out.
Just get rid of
Jack,
him.
bugger off.
Yeah, and keep Matthew McConaughey as that dude character. Basically, just turn it into True Detective, but make it like a 1.5 hour True Detective film, but have a character that kills a woman and then the whole community. Because the one other thing which I did think was quite interesting, and there must be some truth in this, especially what you were saying with your splendid research about the characters, some of the characters being real people in the film, as in they were there, is quite a few people sort of forgive him, and I actually think that aspect is sort of fascinating.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah, that's
he's committed a horrendous crime.
Yeah,
but this is the nature of life. It's not black and white. It's nuanced. It's grey. Blah 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 blah. And I think that's quite interesting.
And what I really wanted to know what the proper outcome of the trial was. If they did really kind of go, oh, he really should have got off. even though he killed someone.
Well, they had to move it, didn't they? Moved it out of the state.
So
because
that was. I guess that's one thing with based on a true story. You don't know what is true, but did that happen then?
But yeah, they decided that they were not going to, because everyone was going around going, oh yeah, we're not going to convict him if we go to court. So they decided they were going to move it out of the state, or however far you can move it. And he was convicted, hence he's in prison. But I think, people were still sort of saying, he did all that work for the church, and even though he used their money, he did it for good. He didn't really buy the stuff for himself. He bought this car for all these people. It's really weird.
McConaughey's character was even saying in it, they usually move those trials out of the state if they feel like the defendant is not going to get a fair trial, because the sense of feeling towards him or her is so negative from the town. So it was almost unheard of for them to move it out of the state because the sense of feeling was so positive towards the defendant, which is, as you say, absolutely crazy.
So let's talk about Jack Black. Did you do the same kind of research with the Jack Black?
I didn't know.
Jack Black
Sorry, Jack.
So what you thought? You said you alluded to the fact. Was it yourself at the top of the show?
I don't think I alluded. I just. I think I was pretty frank. Yeah.
I think you either really like him or you just find him a bit annoying.
Like Marmite.
I do like a good Marmite.
I don't know. I am neither of those. I think when he's in like High Fidelity, love him to bits. School of Rock, love him to bits. The first album. I'm a proper brain freeze today.
Tenacious D.
Tenacious D album, love it to bits. But then Beak and Rewind, amazing. Yeah. But then there's just things I just think, oh, dude.
Yeah.
And when you see his big face, I'm intrigued by the fact you chose because of his big dumb face.
Yeah.
And there's also another film. And
he's a big face.
He does have a big face.
Got a very round face, hasn't he? Yeah.
There's another Netflix original called Poker King.
Yeah, nothing about that makes me want to watch it.
And this image looks. I just don't want to watch that.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, I mean that's a salad bowl haircut.
That's also labelled there as a dark comedy. So maybe this is his reinvention. This is his reconnaissance.
Comedy noir.
Dramedy.
Yeah. So what people's thoughts on Jack? So you reckon people are Marmite? Do you reckon, Helen?
I mean, in this he's kind of weird because he's doing like the singy thing, which he's kind of famous for.
Yeah.
And he was also doing a bit of comedy, but then he's also kind of doing I don't know, maybe like his serious acting bid as well a little bit.
There was a bit of that when he...
Maybe it's his Oscar pitch.
I think he got Grammy nominated for this, or...
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
The reviews, it got 89% on Rotten Tomatoes. The reviews are generally quite high, and quite a few people sort of said, this sort of more, I don't know, multi-layered, if you say it's this sort of more in-depth performance from him.
I've read some really positive stuff about.
People quite liked it, but I'm kind of thinking that maybe this film did something in America and probably had a bit more. They may have known the story, or it's weird, isn't it? I think maybe it's an American audiences might look at this in a completely different way.
I just think I don't know. I just feel if you know the story, then it's even weirder.
Yeah, there is a bit of that.
Are you quite a big fan then of Jack Black?
Here we go. Oh, goodness. All right, now we're getting into it. I do like him. Like, I haven't got posters on my bedroom wall anymore. But
now you're engaged. Your wife says yes, but take that fucking picture down. I don't know why I'm speaking. I don't know why she's got a northern accent. I don't know. She's from Scotland.
Yeah, no. She don't fucking know. Any excuse.
So your Paolo Di Canio accent.
No, that would be it. No. I absolutely love School of Rock, and I'd love Tenacious D as well, and even the Tenacious D film I had a bit of a soft spot for.
It's also long ago though for me. That was like
that's true.
19...
Shallow Hal which is also a long time ago, but I liked him in Shallow Hal.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. I'm a Jack Black apologist.
That's where the bar is. That's where the bar's set.
But in this, I just thought there was too much comedy involved in it, and there was too much of him being Jack Black, I think, to do the story justice. But then at other stages as well, when he shoots her and then he has the crying fit next to her, and you see him go through you see his face drop when he's about to shoot her and go through that dissociative moment, shoots her and then goes to her body and cries, and then the confession that he gives to the police, and he's in floods of tears and stuff. I was quite convinced by that. I thought that was quite good. But at the same time, I do understand why people find him annoying.
Why do you find him annoying, Will?
I just wanted to quickly. Dissociative, is that a word?
It is, mate. I've done my research.
Okay.
Again.
I'll let that one pass.
It's a word, but I don't know what context it should be used.
It's when you...
We can't talk.
It's when you... no, you go.
Yeah. It's when you shoot someone.
Yeah. So you're dissociated from your normal being. And
like an
personality.
out-of-body experience.
Yes, exactly, yeah. When he has his out-of-body experience and he shoots
it.
There you go.
All right. Cool. Glad we cleared that up. Sorry, Kobe. What was the question? I don't like Jack Black.
Yeah, why don't you like Jack Black?
I don't dislike Jack Black. I think his music's quite good, and I like his performing. I appreciate that. I don't mind Tenacious D, that one song.
Tribute.
Yeah, exactly. I can't really remember any of their other stuff. I'm sure it's very good. Do you know it?
Yeah, but
it's got swearies in it.
Yeah, it's swearies.
We can't swear. Yeah. Mum's listening. So...
Sorry, Will. Mum, I think I swore.
That's all right. You're allowed to swear. That's fine. Everyone, the other three of you can go for it.
Nasty podcast guy.
Yeah, that guy. I'm just a ball of contradictions today. I think he's actually quite good in this film, but as I keep saying, I just don't think it should be played as a comedy. I think his serious acting, as Chris alluded to, with that really good dissociative moment that he has, I think that bit is really good, and I do buy into that. And there were moments through this film, which is 1 hour 36 minutes long, I think, because I watched it late at night.
Never get those back.
Yeah, I'll never get those back. I'm like, come on. Need to prep for the podcast. But basically, there were moments in the film where I thought he was very good. And again, I was just, don't want to sound like a broken record, but it was just a shame that there was this weird comedy slant to it, because obviously he's a comedic actor, so I guess he's kind of typecast in that.
It's weird. I mean, because there are many actors now, like Steve Carell. If it's a Steve Carell film, you have no idea which way it's going to go. Yeah. But I don't think...
Read the synopsis carefully when you go to see Steve Carell.
Yeah, don't go into Foxcatcher thinking it's going to be like...
Oh my God, yeah.
But if it's a Jack Black film, my knee-jerk reaction is this is going to have some comedic elements and possibly some singing.
Yeah.
I mean, this film does have those things.
Absolutely.
There is singing in it, and there's armadillos in it.
Yeah.
Just kind of...
That bit at the start where he's, at the very start, where he's doing his first service and the woman gives the eulogy and then she goes, sits down, and there's a really awkward silence.
Yeah.
And then he just sort of trots round and starts playing the piano and singing Amazing Grace. That was the funniest bit of the film,
I love that bit, actually. Yeah. Again, but that was still kind of comedic.
Yeah, well, no, exactly. Yeah. And it's in the first 5 minutes. And then that's it.
And I guess the other person we should definitely mention before going into the scores is this is at least his second team up with Richard Linklater. The first being School of Rock.
Oh, yeah.
What are your thoughts on Richard Linklater as a director?
Well, having only seen...
Will points to Chris.
Having only seen School of Rock, Boyhood, and this, I feel like that even those three is probably quite a good summary of how eclectic his work is, I suppose, because Boyhood is obviously moving and just an incredible piece of filmmaking, I thought. And School of Rock is just great fun silliness, and this is trying to do a mixture of the two, probably. But yeah, I mean, I won't pretend to be particularly knowledgeable about his stuff, but those three, for me, prove how kind of versatile he is as a director, I suppose. And obviously I've read up about Dazed and Confused and various other bits and pieces he's done. So
various other bits and pieces?
Yeah. The Before trilogy, yeah, which I need to watch.
I don't think, Helen, have we talked about Richard Linklater at all before?
I don't know. The thing is, we've never had one of his films on here.
No.
So this is our first?
Yeah, I think
that surprises me, because he's made a lot of films.
What are your thoughts on Richard?
I mean, generally, I would say I'm a fan. I really like the Before After trilogy. I think that's great. And I think Boyhood's a really interesting piece of filmmaking. And didn't he do through the Waking Life and The Scanner Darkly? And
Dazed and Confused is one of my all-time favourite films. Yeah. School of Rock is, when I first watched it, I didn't really get it, but on subsequent watches, I just love all of everything that happens in
masterpiece,
it. So he's, looking at Scanner Darkly. Yeah, so if you watch The Scanner Darkly and then watch this, you'll have no idea.
I find it hard to think of a real dud that he's made. I'm trying to think.
I've not seen the Me and Orson Welles one. That doesn't really interest me.
Yeah, that sounds a bit duddy, doesn't it? But generally, whatever, if he's sort of making something, then it's going to be interesting at least. So
I liked Everybody Wants Him.
I haven't
Came out
seen
a
that
couple
one
years ago.
yet. Yeah, that's his name.
And there was one that came out as we recorded this a couple of months ago. I can't remember what it's called though. But I just missed it. There's just like a flash pan in the cinema, but I'll catch it at some point.
Yeah, he's quite prolific.
Another interesting point on him about this film, not to show the depth of my research even more, but the real Bernie was given a retrial in 2014 and then was released temporarily and stayed in pending another retrial.
Okay.
And stayed in Linklater's garage apartment for 2 years.
2 years?
Waiting for the retrial in 2016 when he was subsequently given a further 99-year sentence.
Oh, shit.
And there's lots of Marjorie Nugent's family who hate the film and think it's really biased and think Linklater the film influenced the outcome of the fact that the retrial was granted.
Yeah.
So his involvement in the whole story of
is there some kind of connection to the location? Is that something?
His garage is in his apartment.
No, I mean
it's been a quiet week, right?
Well, it's Texas. Linklater doesn't leave Texas.
Is he a Texan?
Yeah, I think it's in Austin. He's got a place from reading it. I haven't been there for ages. But I just thought that was fascinating that he's kind of involved.
How big's his fridge freezer?
He's American. He's
It's a big one, isn't it?
Because the incident did happen in the garage, didn't it?
It did.
Yeah, quite.
I think, guys, we should head on to the scores.
So these are...
This episode is brought to you by Amazon. Sometimes the most painful part of getting sick is the getting better part. Waiting on hold for an appointment, sitting in crowded waiting rooms, standing in line at the pharmacy, that's painful. Amazon One Medical and Amazon Pharmacy remove those painful parts of getting better with things like 24/7 virtual visits and prescriptions delivered to your door. Thanks to Amazon Pharmacy and Amazon One Medical, healthcare just got less painful.
Non-patented Flixwatcher scores, and they're out of 5. You may go to a decimal place if you wish.
Yes, as many decimal places as you wish.
Interesting, okay.
And
it's cat amongst the pigeons.
So first category is the recommendability. So, how likely are you to recommend this? What are your overall feelings about it? And we'll start with you, Chris, because it's your choice.
Okay. Recommendability, given the recent introduction of decimal points, I'd go 3.1.
Okay.
3.1? That's not allowed. That shouldn't be allowed.
We've had pie twice.
Really?
2 people said pie.
Don't even start. I have to do this all the time.
That's incredible.
3.1.
Yeah, why not?
You could do whatever you want. It's a spreadsheet. It calculates it up. I pre-formatted it. It's good to go.
Yeah, so not an amazing film, but a really interesting story that I would recommend people looking into.
I'd give it a 2.
You can give a 0. Don't be afraid if you...
Yeah, we're all friends, mate.
There was elements of it that are recommendable, but no, not much more than a 2.
H.
I'm going to give it a 3. It is weird. I mean, I think everyone has said weird at least 3 times. Yeah. It's an interesting piece if you're a fan of either McConaughey, Jack Black, Linklater, or anyone who's got a spare hour and 39 minutes and wants to watch something a bit weird.
36, but yeah.
I'm going to go right down the middle with a 2.5. And that's Linklater points, really.
Yeah, mine are mostly McConaughey and Linklater related.
Yeah. I think just the juxtaposition to reiterate the point and hammer it down.
Yeah.
Of the odd story, of the dark story with weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's just the fact that it's a true story. If it wasn't a true story, then it kind of that's in a way would be fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you say, her relatives must be fucking well pissed off that this is even like how it's been played out. I just can't see.
Well, all the talking heads were coating her off from ball one.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where I gave it a 2.
One of the first things that the talking head said is one of the talking heads says something like, "I know plenty of people in this town would have shot her for $5." Wonder how this film's going to go. Yeah. Still 3.1.
Repeat viewing score, Chris.
I'd go 2 on this, just because I feel like I've got everything I'm going to get out of it. I'd be more likely to recommend.
But why not? Why not less than 2 if you think that you've got everything out of it already?
Jack Black Tax. I think, like you had your Linklater points. I think I'd stick with loyalty to Jack Black on that. I would say I'd be more likely to watch. CBS did a documentary about it a couple of years ago, I think.
Yeah.
The 48 hours or something on their 48 hours thing. I'd be more likely to watch that than watch the film again, I think.
I'd give it a 1 for repeat viewing.
Yeah.
There you go. I think if someone was to say to me, do you want to watch this film? I'd be like, no. And they're like, can we watch this film? I'd be like, no. Like, please, can we watch this film? I'd be like, all right. So basically,
three strikes.
I would have given it a 0, but I would watch it if there was someone that wanted to watch it with me, or they wanted to watch it. You know.
Yeah.
That's it, really.
If they were like, this is the only Richard Linklater Jack Black film I've not seen. I want to complete my life before I die.
Yeah.
So this is like,
this is my dying wish.
yes, exactly.
Yeah. If someone
And you'd
was
be like, all right, yeah.
yeah, if someone was on their deathbed, I'd watch it with them. There you go.
What a lovely guy.
What a gent.
Helen.
I'm going to give it a 1. I mean, it wasn't painful. It's just weird. I mean, the bit I'd quite like to watch again would be all of the talking heads and kind of play like is it a real one? Is it an actor one?
Yeah.
Just because that they were quite funny.
It's like in Under the Skin, where there's real people unbeknownst, and there's actors trying to play that role. So who doesn't know that that's Scarlett Johansson?
Yeah, exactly. And then guess which one's Matthew McConaughey's mum?
Yes.
There you go.
There's a drinking game in this, I feel.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it a 0.8 because I can't imagine when I'd watch it again. But you know, I like Linklater, and it's not that bad a film. I just can't think why I would watch it.
To play the drinking game we just invented.
Small screen score.
So this is, I mean, how well is it suited to Netflix viewing?
I mean, I gave it a 3 on this one. I think it doesn't really gain or lose anything from being on a small
But do you feel
if
you'd watch this in the cinema?
Yeah.
Do you feel that you should have watched this in the cinema to get the most out of it?
I don't think I would have gained anything extra by watching it in the cinema, personally.
You'd have probably lost out because you've had to pay for it.
Yeah.
You pay for Netflix, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Cool.
But that's a mere fraction
exactly.
of what you paid to go to a West End film.
Exactly.
£15 on this would have been a big investment.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have been pleased, even with Jack Black tax involved in it. I would not have been pumped on 15 quid.
I think that's why I've not watched Shallow Hal again since I went to the cinema.
You went to the cinema to
watch it as a student.
Yeah, it would have been like a £5 then.
Well, I don't know, but it's still like you kind of judge in how many pints of beer that would have got you.
Yeah,
and it would have been at least 3 pints of beer that I went to watch Shallow Hal.
The old pintometer. How much is this going to cost me?
It'll cost you 3 pints, son.
Yeah. We live and learn.
So you went for 3 for small screen score. I think maybe you suggest it should be a higher, but Will.
Yeah, I'd give it 4 on the small screen score if I've understood that correctly. I don't think it'd get anything from watching it at the cinema, so you might as well watch it.
Maybe I've slightly misunderstood that.
Yeah, you haven't got
Give it a 4. Give it a 4 from me.
Can you change your mind?
I just have, mate. I just have.
Oh, there you go. Control, Alt, Delete. Yeah, for that, 4. It's... Yeah.
Helen?
I give it a 4.5 just because... it's perfect for the small screen. It doesn't get a 5 because I'm not sure whether it really needs to be like discoverable.
How small can the screen be?
I'm going to give it a 4 as well. I don't know why. In fact, I'm just going to give it a 5 because even in singing in it doesn't need the sound to be good. It's not that funny a film, so I don't think you're missing out. You wouldn't be hearing people laughing that much that you want to be a part of it. So engagement score.
I was pretty engaged just because the story's so weird. So I was most engaged, like you said, most engaged in the talking heads actually, and just trying to and just kind of looking forward to when they were coming back on, really. And obviously totally engaged in Jack Black. He's a ledge. So I'll give it a 4. I was pretty engaged in it.
Okay. Will.
I actually fell asleep a couple of times, but that was more because I was tired.
What time was it? 7 o'clock?
And did you rewind or did you just think, I was just going to pick it up from here?
I did that thing, like, you know, when you fall asleep, but you're trying not to fall asleep, and you kind of shock yourself up. And you're like, oh. And then I didn't want to admit to myself, even though there was no one else there, so I didn't want to live a lie within my own bedroom that I had fallen asleep. So I don't know. I might have missed parts of this film.
Right.
Spoiler alert at the end of this podcast.
Right, all your scores are void now.
Yeah, all my scores are void. But... and I'm looking at my scores, they're all adding up a bit weirdly. I actually think it was quite engaging. So the bits where I was awake and fully into it, I'd give it a 4. I'd give it a 4, yeah.
Helen?
Well, I did my chart, my reconnaissance chart, so I kind of made that engaged.
Did you do that
during the film?
Yeah.
Wow.
I thought this is an opportunity for me to work out exactly what came before the reconnaissance and whereabouts in that canon this film was.
Were you second screening during this then?
Well, yeah, I was...
Cardinal sin.
Cardinal second screening.
And also I was checking, is this film really based on a true story? How much of it is true? So I think I can only give that a 3.5.
I'm going to give it 2.5 for the kind of WTF factor of what the fuck. Sorry,
sorry, Mrs. Rowe.
WTF is actually going on, and it's kind of...
But didn't you find that engaging? The weirdness of it?
No, I found it disassociative.
Couldn't have put it better myself.
Disassociative.
I hope that's a word now. I'm going to go proper knob, aren't I?
Yeah. And given all those random numbers, it comes to exactly 2.9.
Just about a 3, so...
You don't have to round up. It's fine. 2.9.
I do have to round it up. I mean, yeah, we've had... films much worse than that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. It'll do.
Shall we see what the voice of Twitter?
Yes.
So when we do the recordings, if you follow us on Twitter, we will have a little GIF. I do love a good GIF. Saying what film we're reviewing for you to retweet and give us your 5-star review.
So we say we're reviewing Bernie. Have you seen it? We'd love to hear your thoughts and include it on our podcast, Flixwatcher. Give us a 5-star review and a 5-star rating, short review, and retweet. Will, do you want to? There's only 2 reviews here, so the guests might as well read out what was said.
Okay, this review comes from What Were They Thinking, which is at WWTT Podcast. I remember liking it, and Jack Black gives a really good and complicated performance. Just fair enough. Yeah, it is complicated, and his performance in parts I thought was really good.
So 3.5 stars.
Yes. Oh, sorry, that's a rating there. As I missed that bit. 3.5 stars.
And Chris, do you want to take the second one?
Sure. So the second review is from a chap called Ryan Mudd, who is at coup de grace with a 0 instead of an O on coup, and he says a really great movie, one of Jack Black's best.
Doesn't give a score out of 5 then.
Yeah, no score out of 5.
So they both rate it higher than what we would have given it here.
Yeah. Not hard.
Not to put words into Ryan Mudd's mouth, but that reads like a 5, doesn't it?
A really great movie.
It says it's one of
Sorry.
Jack Black's bests.
Yeah.
So I would say it's between 4 and 5.
Yeah.
I'll go 4.38.
Oh, there we go.
So scientific.
So, guys, let us know where we can find you online, so you can tell all the people listening.
Hopefully in all the normal places. At Will Row 2 is my Twitter handle. Yeah, that's it, really. That's the only place I am online. I don't have Instagram. Not that you want to follow me if I did. But...
No. Plenty of updates about what's going on at the Home of Cricket on your Twitter, isn't there?
Yes.
There we go.
At Home of Cricket is the podcast. Sorry.
The podcast.
Yeah,
sorry. The Lord's podcast. If you're into cricket and podcasts and one-on-one interviews with former great cricketers, in-depth chat. It's at Home of Cricket. That's where you want to go to find out any updates on that as and when they come out.
Cool.
And if you're into occasional tweets about how football isn't the game it used to be, and the other thing about University Press, then I am at Chris D. Smith 27.
Cool.
Thanks very much, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, pleasure.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Well, thanks, guys, for listening to Flixwatcher Podcast. Please do come and find us online. We're on Twitter at FlixWatcherPod. Come and visit our website, flixwatcher.tv. Thank you so much to our fantastic editor, Brendan Russell, for his fantastic editing skills, of course, and to Mighty People for the tunes you can hear right now.